Tonight on Reporting Scotland, a couple lose their bid to sue UK and Scottish ministers over cuts to winter fuel payments. But Peter and Flo Fanning say they've been vindicated by both governments making changes to their policies.
It was worthwhile. Although we lost, we actually won.
Also on tonight's programme.
When I think of what has happened, it makes me cry, and I'm sure it makes a lot of people cry, you know.
Scots Indians hold prayers to remember the victims of yesterday's Air India plane crash. An intellectual giant, Scotland's first black professor, Sir Geoff Palmer, dies at the age of 85. The SPFL says they need more football banning orders to tackle unacceptable behaviour like using pyro at football matches.
And coming up in the sport, Dundee boss Stephen Presley says he's returned to Scotland as a better leader and urged fans to give him time to succeed.
Hello, I'm Laura Goodwin. Welcome to Friday's programme. Like many pensioners, Peter and Flo Fanning were really worried when they were told they were losing their winter fuel allowance. And the Coatbridge couple decided to sue both the UK and Scottish governments over the cuts, claiming neither had properly consulted with pensioners. Today they were told that claim wouldn't be progressing through the courts, but the couple's lawyers say they have no doubt the Fannings' case was influential in securing U-turns on the policy by both governments. Katrina Renton has been speaking to them.
It seemed like a David and Goliath situation after the Chancellor announced cuts to the formerly universal winter fuel payment, and while devolved, the Scottish Government said they would follow suit as they'd consequently lost money from their budget. Peter and Flo Fanning, two pensioners, took on the might of two governments. Today they found out they'd lost their case in court.
I was initially disappointed because obviously it looked like a loss, but it's a win because, I mean, we set out initially to challenge the governments to rethink the whole thing about cutting off the winter fuel payment to needy pensioners. And they've done that, they've rethought it and they've went back. And now, not all pensioners, but quite a few pensioners, thousands, will get money. So, you know, that can be nothing but considered a win.
We've lost the case, we've still been vindicated. You know, as Peter had said, we have taken the governments to court, and I think with all this going in, they've did a U-turn on their decisions. They've seen now that nobody's going to sit back and listen to them.
We first met Peter and Flo before they went to court. Their story resonated with many. They live in a council house in Coatbridge. Peter has a small work pension and state pension. Flo has just a state pension. They didn't qualify for pension credit, but their bills were still going up.
Up and down the country, I think, it kind of brought pensioners together as well to say, well, wait a minute, you know, it is an injustice, you know, and they feel bad about it. So that whole thing, I think, has made me think that, you know, it was worthwhile.
After Peter and Flo started their case, the Scottish Government did change its policy, and this week the U-turn from the Westminster Government means many more pensioners in England and Wales would be entitled to a payment. In a statement, the Govan Law Centre, who represented Peter and Flo, said that the fact that the governments have already reconsidered vindicates their client's decision to bring this litigation.
And the reaction at the UK Government, that must say something about the power of pensioners. Tell me about that.
We are a force to be reckoned with because I don't think we would lie down, you know, and let them roll over us with things like that. We would stand up and just tell it as it is.
Both governments have said they will consider today's judgment carefully. Katrina Renton, Reporting Scotland, Coatbridge.
Scotland's Indian community have been holding prayers to remember the victims of the fatal Air India plane crash. More than 240 people were killed when a flight bound for London crashed just moments after takeoff in Ahmedabad. Faith leaders here say services will also be held over the weekend to offer support. Hope Webb reports.
At the Hindu Mandir temple in Glasgow, these members are singing a Sanskrit mantra to bring them comfort. The Shanti Pat mantra is said to provide a path to peace. Those here may be over 4,000 miles from the site of yesterday's Air India crash, but the grief is tangible.
It is difficult. When I think of what has happened, it makes me cry, and I'm sure it makes a lot of people cry, you know. And it's how easy life can 1 minute be here and next minute not be here.
Members of the community have been gathering here since the news of the crash broke yesterday. Many of them just want to be together during this time.
There is no consolation. There is nothing you can say yourself that, okay, this has happened and this will give you relief.
I'm in deep shock, and I really feel tragically sad for the people who've lost their lives.
It is very sad. It's not easy, especially when you lose your loved ones. But at the same time teaches us nothing is permanent in this world.
Investigators are yet to establish the cause of the deadly crash, but work has now begun to identify the victims, with family members providing DNA to help the process. And the Indian Council of Scotland says it will support those who need to get to Ahmedabad.
What we are doing is we've set up a fund, and that fund is to help people to travel to India to see their loved ones. And if anyone does require funding, it will be on a case-to-case basis. We will buy their tickets.
For the Indian community, the journey of grief now begins, and for those struggling, the Hindu Mandir temple will be holding memorial prayers throughout the weekend. Hope Webb, reporting Scotland.
The SPFL says there is a greater need for football banning orders to tackle unacceptable conduct at football matches. The organisation pointed to the use of smoke bombs and flares as a particular concern. Well, our sports news correspondent Chris McLaughlin is here. Chris, what has been said?
Well, Laura, the league released a statement earlier on today thanking fans for turning out in record numbers last season. 5.3 million supporters attended matches, impressive numbers across Scotland. But they also used this statement, as you say, to call for more to be done in regards to unacceptable conduct, highlighting, as you say, pitch invasions, throwing missiles and pyrotechnics, calling some fans irresponsible and selfish. Now, they also confirmed that Celtic, Aberdeen and Partick Thistle are likely to be sanctioned because of the behaviour of some of their club's fans at the end of the season. Now, basically what the league want is for more help and more banning orders for those who are convicted of football-related offences. Now, a recent BBC Scotland investigation revealed that fewer banning orders are being issued than were issued previously. That goes against what the league want. They want to see tougher sanctions for those fans who are involved in unacceptable conduct. Talks between the footballing authorities, the police and the Scottish Government are continuing on this matter.
OK, Chris, many thanks indeed. An inspiration, a pioneer and a courageous voice for justice and equality. Just some of the words used to describe Professor Sir Geoff Palmer, who has died aged 85. He was Scotland's first black professor, having moved from Jamaica to the UK as a teenager, and became known as a human rights advocate. Stephen Godden has more.
Sir Geoff Palmer's contribution to Scottish life was rich and varied. Born in Jamaica in 1940, he followed his mother to London as a teenager.
The overriding feeling which we had as people from Jamaica at that time was that we were here to better ourselves.
Lester Palmer. At Leicester University, he studied botany. Postgraduate education took him to Heriot Watt, beginning his long association with Edinburgh and Scotland.
Sir Geoff was like a father figure to me. He was my dad's best friend.
From a young age, he was a big part of Faisal Chowdhury's life.
If there's an issue, I would call him at 3 in the morning, and you know what, he'll be in my house 7 in the morning. So he was one of those characters who always had an answer for you. He always had something for you to make you smile.
An expert in grain science, Geoff Palmer's research developed new techniques for brewing beer, success in the field earning him the distinction of becoming Scotland's first black professor. But his impact wasn't limited to academia. Recognition also arrived for his role as a campaigner, speaking up for black communities.
The man could talk for Jamaica and Scotland, and he said to me at the end, "Stuart, I want you to continue to work in the film and television space because you are now new black media and you are a representation of our voice, so please continue to tell our stories our way."
Alongside the formal trappings of a knighthood and the Order of the Thistle, his handprints are also immortalised outside Edinburgh City Chambers.
Strong, intellectual individual, but such a humble man and also such a nice person. He always left you with a smile, but he's also left the city with an incredibly beneficial legacy of how we handle our slavery and colonialism legacy.
Those who worked alongside him on that review of Edinburgh's colonial legacy believe the inevitable friction that came with it revealed another aspect of his character.
I think even the people that he debated fiercely with, he did it also, I think, with civility, and he was able to maintain that spirit of wisdom and just gentleness about him. And he had a humour about him. He was funny.
An academic with infectious enthusiasm and a passion for education. The tribute from colleagues to a man whose influence had a long reach.
Professor Sir Geoff Palmer, who's died at the age of 85. The UK Conservative leader says Reform UK are making a lot of promises which they can't deliver as the two parties take each other on ahead of the Holyrood election next year. Reform say they're the party offering hope and can deliver. Kemi Badenoch was speaking at the Scottish Conservative Conference in Edinburgh, where our political correspondent Andrew Kerr is for us tonight. Andrew, how much of a threat does Reform UK pose to the Conservatives?
Yes, Laura, they seem to be posing quite a significant threat. Reform are polling well, and we have the recent evidence of the by-election last week where they pushed the Tories into fourth place. They came in third, so a clear and present danger, with Reform clearly appealing to Tory voters. Now, in her speech at the podium today, the Tory leader Kemi Badenoch was very critical of them and Nigel Farage, their leader, but Reform have been hitting back today. They say they've hit a significant milestone, reaching 11,000 members. We'll hear from them in just a second. But in an interview with Kemi Badenoch after her speech, I said to her, could she really take on Reform at the election next year?
Yes, of course we can. Andrew, every party is a threat. We are in a competitive political environment. Labour scrapping with the SNP scrapping with Reform. You've got Liberal Democrats and Greens there. This is, it's just what politics is right now. What we have to do is make sure that we have the best offer. We have the best offer for the public, the people know what we're about. Previously, people have said to us that they couldn't tell whether we were going left or right. I want to make it very clear what the Conservative Party stands for.
You're way behind in the polls. You told the Prime Minister in the House on Wednesday that you get better every week. Are you at your best to take on Reform and be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom?
Well, one of the great things about me is that I continue to get better. I may be good now, but I also believe that there's so much that all of us need to learn. I'm not one of those people who believes that everything is perfect. There's always stuff that can be improved, and that's what the Conservative Party is about. It's about always striving, always continuing to improve. We are the party of aspiration.
Kemi Badenoch can say what she wants to say in opposition, but the Conservatives were in charge for 14 years. The reason people like me left was because they didn't deliver the programme that they're now speaking about. We now have a situation where a Conservative Party doesn't speak Conservative at all. They don't speak about issues properly, and they've not delivered. Reform UK is offering that, and we're offering people hope.
So those are the issues with Reform. What else was a significant theme in her speech?
Yes, a big focus on the oil and gas industry. Kemi Badenoch was saying that she opposes the energy profits levy. She wants to see that got rid of. That's the windfall tax. In fact, she was saying that she opposed that in government when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister and he introduced it. Now, Labour say the Conservatives are on the side of oil and gas giants, and the SNP claim the Tories have wrecked the economy. But on these themes, like the oil and gas industry, tax cuts for working Scottish families, the Tories are trying to portray that they're on the side of common sense, of people's priorities as well. So I think when Russell Finlay, the Scottish leader, speaks here at Murrayfield tomorrow, he'll be picking up on some of those issues when he speaks to the party faithful tomorrow. Laura, back to you.
OK, Andrew, many thanks. Some of the day's other stories now. It's been confirmed a body found in woodland near Falkirk is that of missing 19-year-old Cole Cooper. He was discovered near Banknock 4 weeks after he went missing following a night out with friends. His death is being treated as unexplained, and police say extensive inquiries are ongoing to establish the full circumstances. A vigil to commemorate Cole will be held in the village of Banknock on Sunday evening. Police investigating violent incidents across the Central Belt have made a further 2 arrests, bringing the total to 44. A firearm was recovered from the Roseburn Path area of Edinburgh on Wednesday. A 25-year-old man was arrested and charged. A 22-year-old man was arrested and charged in connection with fire-raising of a vehicle on Peacocktail Close in Edinburgh last month. He's due to appear at Edinburgh Sheriff Court on Monday. The Far North Railway line runs from Inverness to Thurso and Wick. It is 160 miles long and entirely single track with passing loops along the route. Now, Network Rail has started a multi-million-pound maintenance project to upgrade the track. Campaigners welcome the improvements but say there is still some way to go to make services more reliable for passengers. Andrew Thompson reports.
It's one of Scotland's most scenic railways as it winds its way through the Northern Highlands, and there's now a turnaround in its fortunes to bring it into the 21st century.
As you can see here on the chairs, some of these are from 1938, which are marked there. So the condition of the sleepers, they're becoming towards the end of their serviceable life.
And the maintenance work underway is largely done without heavy machinery.
So our team are here over the 3-week period. We started at the start of the week there. We're replacing rails and sleepers between Brora and Helmsdale to the north, just behind me here. The rails that we're changing here are 60 foot in length, and our teams do that manually. We use old techniques such as canting irons and bars, and manually remove and install the rails.
There's almost 4 miles of track that's being fully refurbished here between Brora and Helmsdale, and that includes replacing about 2,500 sleepers. Replacement bus services are running until the end of the month while the work is taking place. These passengers said they didn't mind having to change their travel plans.
We are here as tourists, so we look forward to having the real road trip, but now the bus will be nice as well. I don't care.
As long as I make it there, I'm good.
It would have been easier to get the train, just for my dog's sake, basically. But has to be, I guess. Has to be.
More legroom on the train, obviously, but I don't mind the bus.
Campaigners say they're delighted £11.5 million is being spent on maintenance, but say further upgrades are needed to make the line fit for purpose and reduce journey times of over 4 hours from end to end.
This is absolutely vital and very important. We would like to see some money spent on actual improving the infrastructure. The line lacks passing places, passing loops, and we would like to see at least 1 and perhaps 2 or 3 more to enable more capacity and better reliability.
The Scottish Government says it's committed to ongoing improvements to rail services, subject to affordability and other competing priorities. Andrew Thompson, Reporting Scotland, Brora.
Right, time now for Sport with Lewis.
Thanks, Laura. Hello there. New Dundee boss Stephen Presley believes he's returned to Scotland better equipped to succeed than when he left for England more than a decade ago. The former defender, who played for Rangers, Dundee United, Hearts and Celtic during his playing career and has managed teams including Falkirk and Coventry, recently left a development role at Brentford. His appointment has had a mixed response from Dundee supporters, but he's urged them to give him time.
You know, if you look through a certain lens and you're looking for a manager with history of winning titles, then I'm not your man. I've not demonstrated that yet. I hope I can demonstrate that in the future, but as yet I haven't done so. But the type of skill set that Dundee were looking for, then I think I'm very much aligned to that, and I've demonstrated that throughout my career. Also, you know, I think that through growth, through my experiences at Brentford, through my learning, there's a different, as I've said, a different type of manager, a different type of leader here. But football will never change. Regardless if I was a popular appointment or not, I'm still going to have to win games.
That's the reality of it, and nothing changes in that respect.
St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson has targeted a 4th consecutive top 6 finish next season, but admits they have to get recruitment right if they are to achieve that. In an extended interview to be broadcast on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland tomorrow, the Buddies boss admits they don't have the level of staffing and infrastructure that many others in the top half of the Premiership have, but they've got belief that they can compete.
Next season you've got 6 or 7 teams that should be in the top 6. The rest of us are fighting in a 7-team league, really. The top 5 should be taken. But football's not played on paper, and it's not always the way. There'll always be a surprise, and we have to be in a position to take advantage of one of the bigger sides not performing as they should. People not doing their job as they should, and that's hard. We find that very, very difficult. There's still very early stages of the recruitment process, but that has to be a
Great stuff. Now, Kingussie meet Lovett in Shinty's first big showpiece of the season, the McTavish Cup final. Kingussie will be considered favourites given their domination of the sport in recent years, but Lovett, who've not won a trophy in 10 years, came close to stopping them in last year's Camanachd Cup final.
Last year's final was a pretty sort of classic final. It had sort of everything, and they've got that real physical sort of side to them, so I imagine there'd be something pretty similar this week. I think they're in the same position. They've lost a few players last season. They've had a few poor results this year, but like you say, a cup final, 90 minutes, anything can happen.
We've had talks amongst ourselves. The mentality needs to be flipped. We've had hard discussions, as I just mentioned there, and it's just a case of just trying to, right the wrongs from the past. We've had multiple sessions working on things that we've done wrong in the past and working on how we perceive ourselves. So I think a lot of it is a psychological thing, and once we break through that barrier, I think we'll be okay.
To cricket now, and Scotland's new all-time leading wicket-taker, Safyan Sharif. The 34-year-old hopes his achievement can inspire more Scottish youngsters to follow in his footsteps in the sport. He took his tally to 261 wickets in Scotland's match against the Netherlands yesterday and snatched the record from Majid Haq. Sharif made his Scotland debut back in 2011 and believes this milestone makes all these years of effort worth it.
It feels amazing. I mean, just to get there, the hard work and the sacrifices that I've made throughout my journey, and to just break that record was a proud moment for myself and for my family and my friends that have supported me throughout my cricketing career.
How excited do your kids get, Safyan, about the fact that you take all these wickets? Do they watch you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the oldest understands the game a little bit, so he was very happy and excited when I came home. They all were just jumping around me. Well done. So yeah, it's a great feeling as a father. I'm actually currently with a club at Perth, and there's a lot of young talent there, and I'm happy to pass on my knowledge and my experience I've gained from the game. So I'm here to help anyone in the future.
Some very sad news now, because footballer Charlie Watson, who played on with stage 4 cancer, has died at the age of 20. Charlie, from Lochmaben in Dumfries and Galloway, continued playing for Castle Douglas side Threave Rovers despite his skin cancer diagnosis. A campaign in his name has raised tens of thousands of pounds for research. In a post on their fundraising page, his mum Amanda said, "We are beyond proud of the journey our Charlie boy has fought." So yeah, our love and thoughts with his family, Laura, really sad.
It really was, yeah. But an inspiration.
An inspiration indeed, yeah.
Lewis, thank you very much.
Thanks, Laura.
Now, coming up on the BBC Scotland channel at 7, Amy Irons hears from singer Amy MacDonald about how age and experience haven't made her any less nervous when it comes to releasing new music.
I have found that since I've got older, I worry about things way more. When I started out, I was only 19 with my first album, and I thought I knew everything and just kind of came in and done my thing and then left. And now I analyse things way more deeply, and it's definitely more stressful than it used to be.
Right, time now for weather with Judith.
Hello, hello, hello. A very good evening to you as well at home. Well, we've had some very warm weather across the country, and in fact we topped the warmest day of the year so far, beating last month's 25.6, 25.7 up at Lossiemouth today, and all that warm air engulfed across us. We've got low pressure coming up from the south tonight with a lot of showers in its circulation, and those two ingredients will lead to some really heavy, possibly thundery downpours during tonight and indeed tomorrow. All clearing away as we head through Saturday night into Sunday. A much quieter day to come with a ridge of high pressure coming our way on Sunday. But inevitably, the first warning we've seen for a while, or of the summer, certainly a yellow Met Office warning for thunderstorms, valid from midnight tonight until 6 o'clock tomorrow evening for much of Scotland, central, southern and eastern parts. Localised flooding will be a possibility. Some really difficult driving conditions as well, as you can imagine. A dry start to the evening though, then as we head through tonight we'll see that heavy plume of showers moving up from the south, staying drier further north, and it will be a very mild night for most of us, wind staying light. So into tomorrow, that cluster of heavy downpours making its way north and eastwards as we head through the course of the day. Nowhere particularly immune from them, so you might not see a thunderstorm, but I think you'll probably see a heavy downpour. As that rain moves into the Northern Isles though, it does lose its energy, so nothing particularly thundery or heavy here. But across eastern Scotland, a lot of cloud. There'll be a real risk of showers, heavy ones in the mix, torrential, squally as they pass by as well. So be prepared for them. You might not see them, but they will be there. You might hear them actually before you see them. And across western Scotland, we'll see the first signs of an easing of those downpours as we head through the course of the afternoon. Something drier coming into the northwest. Now the temperatures look lower, but it will still feel quite humid with all this going on. Still some heavy downpours to come as we head through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. Gradually, this all pulling away as we head through the overnight period. Everything quietening down and the winds start to move into the west, bringing a cooler air mass across Scotland on Sunday. The early sunshine, I think, in the east, but then we'll see cloud building in the west, being pushed in on brisk westerly winds, and some misty, murky conditions for western coastal areas. It'll be quite damp here as well. 1 or 2 afternoon showers, but on balance, a lot of dry weather, a cooler feel, but we still could see 20 Celsius in the east and the west. The sunshine and a quiet start to the new working week. Some overnight rain Monday night into Tuesday, but that clears away. So a quiet week of weather coming our way after all the drama.
Well, I wouldn't mind some cooler nights. It's been very muggy, hasn't it?
It certainly has, yeah.
Thank you, Judith. And that's where we leave you this evening. Judith and I will be here with your late news at around 10:30. But until then, from everyone on the team, do enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great weekend when it comes. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.